Next up, it is my pleasure to introduce Dave O'Leary. Dave has served as our Outdoor Ethics Committee Chair for the last 7 years, and he has worked tirelessly helping all of us work to deliver great outdoor ethic programs throughout the entire country. So please welcome Dave O'Leary.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the last session of the evening, and especially welcome to the conference. This is our 5th national conference, and obviously the format is a little different this year than our previous conferences. While it's a disappointment to me personally not to be able to visit with each of you in person and see lots of folks and meet new folks in person, it is great to see how many people are participating in our virtual conference this time. So this evening, I'm just going to go through and provide a quick update on some of the things that have been happening within the outdoor ethics area in Scouts over the last few years. Earlier this evening, Eric provided a great overall background and history on the program. So I'm just going to talk about some incremental updates of the last couple of years since our last conference. Again, so thanks again for being here this evening. So first, a quick thank you to the members of the Outdoor Ethics Committee. These are the folks who have been involved with our program and leading the program over the last 2 years. This photo was taken actually at our last national conference 2 years ago. And you can see the members of the committee all smiling. It seems like 2 years ago was a very, very long time ago now. In particular, I wanted to acknowledge 3 people who have served on the committee, who have all stepped down this past fall. First, Dave Downing, there in the middle in the front. Dave is one of the original members of the Leave No Trace Task Force that Eric mentioned earlier. Dave has been with us now for 15 years, so quite a long period of time, and has contributed in many ways. Dan Howells in the lower right-hand corner of the screen, also an original member of the committee, is also stepping down, and we thank both of them for their ongoing contributions. Dave Downing and Dan Howells, 2 members of the Outdoor Ethics Committee who have been involved since the start, have led many courses. I expect several of you have crossed paths with them at Philmont or in one of your other programs somewhere. The 3rd member of the committee who stepped down is newer to the committee, but also has a long career with outdoor ethics in Texas, in her local council, and then throughout Texas, and for the last 2 years has served as the Southern Region Coordinator. She is stepping down because she moved out of the Southern Region. Certainly hope to continue to see all of these folks involved on an ongoing basis with the committee. And I do, again, want to thank all of them for being involved, especially over the last several years, for our monthly phone calls and more recently Zoom meetings, the long email messages, and the travel they've taken to our national events and to run courses. Tomorrow, Scott will review, as in his looking forward presentation, he'll introduce new committee members and talk about the roles of the committee members. But if you want to contact any of us, you can go to the outdoorethicsbsa.org website, click on contacts, and we're all listed there. So as I mentioned, we've continued to make great progress with outdoor ethics in scouting. In recent years, we continue to recruit more council outdoor ethics advocates. And I'm also very pleased to see that the number of reports coming in has also increased in the last couple of years, and reporting the level of activity with courses and involvement in local units, University of Scouting, kind of across the spectrum of scouting activity, which is great. We continue to train more and more Leave No Trace master educators. As of early 2020, we had trained more than 1,200 people had completed a master educator course within BSA. And while we don't have an exact count of the Leave No Trace trainers who have completed BSA courses, estimate there are about 10,000, which is quite remarkable. It's more than any other organization. In the last few years, we've also worked closely with other parts of the organization, especially Scouting U, to update the Introduction to Outdoor Leadership Skills, Wood Badge, and Powderhorn course syllabus for each of those courses, to make sure that the outdoor ethics content is as up to date as possible. And for the outdoor skills, other outdoor skills components of that training, they recommend the best and reflect the best practices relating to outdoor ethics. Another big success has been the Outdoor Ethics Guide Position of Responsibility, which was introduced only a few years ago. And we've really seen that accepted widely, which is great news. And thanks to the team who put together that guide, and to those units that have introduced that position into their troops and crews. Another big project of the last couple of years was to update our contact database. Most of you probably heard from your council outdoor ethics advocate or your regional coordinator or someone asking, probably on more than one occasion, to make sure that the contact information on our site is accurate. That's really important, as it allows us to stay in contact with each of you and make sure you have the most up-to-date information. And for folks in your local councils to find you as a resource. So that's been a big project, and we're really glad to see that so many have participated. We also continue to update the content on the outdoorethicsbsa.org site and on scouting.org, the two places where we publish new information. Of course, 2020 has been a challenging year for us, society-wide and in BSA, both due to the pandemic, to the reorganizations and other challenges we've faced in scouting. I'm really glad to see, though, that we have continued to be active through this challenging time. Over this summer, unfortunately, our local summer camp was closed, as many were across the country, but some did open and continue to offer programs. I was fortunate enough to be able to visit both the Florida Sea Base and the summit this summer for a few days each. And it was great to see young people there still participating in scouting. And from the outdoor ethics side of things, we made sure, and this is something we had been working on in the background already, is thinking about how to offer more material online. And the robustness of the outdoorethicsbsa.org site really was a great step forward there. But in working with the Leave No Trace Center, several councils were able to offer Leave No Trace trainer courses, virtual courses. And this, while a new format and certainly very different than the in-person courses, it allowed us to broaden our reach. So we had people participate in those Leave No Trace trainer courses virtually from across the country, and close to a dozen courses have been offered so far, and people participating again from states all across the country, including Hawaii, people outside the United States, that it's certainly difficult for us to travel and do a course and visit them. And councils where we haven't had as much activity. We had people participate. So that was exciting. And also being flexible to respond to the needs of local units in terms of offering the award program and things like that. So it's been, again, an interesting and challenging year, but I'm glad to report that we were able to adapt. And I expect that some of the things we learned we'll continue to use over these upcoming years as we emerge from the pandemic. One other thing that I'd like to talk about is the Voice of the Scout report, which survey and report, which was completed in the summer of 2019. The Voice of the Scout is something that the national organization has done for several years, where they survey adult leaders, parents, and older youth across the organization. So in the summer of 2019, there was a Voice of the Scout survey sent to thousands of members of the organization, and again, including some parents, specifically about Leave No Trace in the BSA. And we obviously, had no idea what the results would come back, but we were really pleased to see how broadly Leave No Trace has been accepted and embraced within the organization. So this slide just shows a few of those statistics. There were, so out of the thousands of responses that were received, 85% of youth-facing volunteers reported that they are very or somewhat familiar with the Leave No Trace principles. So those youth-facing volunteers are the Cub Masters, Den Leaders, Scout Masters, Assistant Scout Masters, Venturing Crew Advisors. So a very high percentage. And of those 85% who are familiar with Leave No Trace, 91% of those incorporate the use of Leave No Trace in planning their outdoor activities. And 79% of Scouts BSA members, this is the youth members, agree that participation in Scouting increased their practicing Leave No Trace principles. And out of the youth-facing volunteers who were surveyed, less than 1% of those indicated that they had never heard of Leave No Trace. So pretty exciting for an organization that has millions of members and thousands of youth and millions of youth members, hundreds of thousands of adult volunteers. Pretty exciting how much Leave No Trace has become pervasive within the organization. As Eric noted earlier, it's really been about 25 years since the Leave No Trace Center started. So it's been quite an advancement within the organization to see this change, which is exciting. So, that's kind of again a very quick overview of what we've been doing and working on over the last couple of years. Tomorrow, Scott will provide an update and looking forward presentation, and again talk about the committee makeup and moving forward and how to get involved. But I do encourage you to take a look at the outdoorethicsbsa.org website and make sure you stay in touch with your local council advocate. If I'm sure many of you are on, many council advocates are on this program already, and participating in the conference. But if you're new to outdoor ethics, check out our session tomorrow morning and see how you can get involved and see how we can continue to make all of these numbers 100%. Well, except maybe the people who have never heard of Leave No Trace who want that one to go to 0. So again, that's just a real quick overview.